There we go. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our podcast. Today, we have Jared Rogers, and Jared's going to share a little bit of his current experience and his transition from, the mortgage banking, helping folks get into their dream home, and working his way into creative financing with real estate. So, Jared, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me for a little bit.
Absolutely. So I know I shared a little bit about you, but please kind of go into what you've been doing and how we're transitioning into the real estate side.
Yeah. So like you said, I've been in mortgage over 2 decades now. Anywhere from the volume shops out here. I'm in Southern California, which is kind of like the Wall Street of mortgage, right? Everybody's out here in Southern Orange County or whatnot. So I transitioned from being the volume shops into running my own branch about 12 years ago. And, I love it. It's been good because I'm helping people, right? That's the best thing about it. So, but it's also a cycle business, and it's also a lot of work that it takes to go into it and be successful. And just like real estate agents or investors and stuff like that, there's people way up here and there's people down here and there's people trying to be, fit in the middle somewhere. Right. So I really started looking into, I've always wanted to do investing and whatnot. Cause I like to help people, right, as much as I possibly can. Started looking at that, and I got caught on, I forget what it was, some other service out there or program out there, and it didn't quite fit right, and started looking around at more and more and more, and got into the sub-2 community, and I liked how they were doing. I liked the community. I liked the structure. I thought it was really awesome. And I just keep digging deeper and deeper into that, and seeing how we're going to build a business around what niche we want to do in this business of about 1,000 niches, right? So
Absolutely. So let me just kind of dig into that, if you don't mind, a little bit. I really like to help other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe accelerate their journey. I know I did a lot of Bigger Pockets, and I still, I respect and watch those on occasion as well. I'm also in Sub2 and the Gator program, as well as I'm in the business buying with Carl Allen and the Dealmaker Protege team. So I'm also kind of going down some similar paths. But what other things, you just mentioned you tried other things that didn't work for you? What other things did you try, and what was it about those that kept you looking for something else?
Yeah. So when I first started looking into it, I started looking at like tax liens and tax sales and stuff like that. That's kind of what got the interest going. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it was exactly. I mean, it just didn't feel, I think it's still a great business, but it wasn't a big enough business, or I couldn't envision it as a big enough business where I could see myself going, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's kind of like, so what triggered it, and triggered me and my wife to actually start looking into that more as well. And then wanting something more though. Like, I think I like to envision things like how big they can be, right? Whether you get there or not, that's up to each individual, but I wanted to see something that I could make a big business out of. And I just didn't see that. It seemed like a lot. It was a lot longer to get going, and it just wasn't. It didn't feel right for me, I guess. So I think I'm a big believer. Like, you know what you want inside sometimes, and just because you hear it or get excited or see a bunch of stuff on social media, it might persuade you, but it's almost like it's a temporary thing. A couple layers deep, it might not be what you really want, and it wasn't what I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
Or even go down that path to learn a lot more about, if that makes sense. So
Totally. And I did the same thing. I've got a book, or used to have a book somewhere on tax liens, kind of went through it, heard a little bit of pitch here and there. And I'm like, hey, let's check this out. I can make, 15, 20, 30%, 40% in some cases. And I got looking a little closer. It's like, well, it depends on what they bid it up for at the auction as to what your percentage is. So it looked like it was going to take a lot of work to get a potential small return, might have been bigger at the time than, some of the interest rates. But it just, I don't know. I'm with you there. I looked at it, and I actually did some research and read a book on it, and decided, okay, this is okay. This is an okay way to go, but not 100% what I'm trying to accomplish. So,
right.
And you're still trading, hours for dollars almost for that, because you have to go keep actively searching for those deals and executing on them, right, to get that percentage. So somewhere in between there. But okay, cool. Anything else that you tried along the process? I mentioned I did, Bigger Pockets fan. That's actually where I learned about Pace on the Sub 2 community, was through Bigger Pockets. So not sure what else you may have tried as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've looked at a lot of stuff that's kind of around what I do now, right? I've looked at commercial lending. I've looked at the private money. I do like the private money side a lot too, and I am working on a project right now to go down servicing private money liens and whatnot. But at the time, I think I was looking for something else, right? Just looking for something different. I don't mind being in these active businesses, but at the end of the day, I want to consistently go towards building a passive income over time, right? That's going to be something that's going to continue to grow. So if it's, I right now I'm on the path of, obviously I want real estate, right? I want passive income from that. That could be generational. And I like servicing loans because that could be passive as well, or you hope it's passive as long as it can possibly be. But what I don't want to do is just get stuck in something that is the same thing I've already been doing with just a different title on it, right? And that's kind of what's deterred me, or that's what keeps me up at night questioning what I really want to do, right? So just making sure I'm not going down the same path I'm already on, which I like. Like I said, I won't give it up or change it or anything like that, but I want to expand, if that makes sense. So.
Gotcha. So you mentioned you're in Sub 2, so you're using this and the creative real estate to supplement and build wealth in addition to the mortgage stuff you're actively involved with today. Is that a correct statement?
Yeah, I mean, it's another business, right? Like, one of my goals is to own multiple businesses, 10, 20 businesses, multiple partnerships and stuff like that,
Yep.
That I want to have. So to me, it's another business, another structure. It's going to be ran totally separate. And lately, with the market, as you probably know, with rates right now these days, I got a lot more time to put towards that side of the business too. So,
I got you.
So I'd say price 80% of my time goes towards Sub 2 and PML, private money lending.
Cool. All right. Well, that's cool. So I mean, that kind of gives us and the audience kind of where you're from and what you're trying to accomplish and kind of how you've transitioned here. It sounds like the market has helped you transition and given you some time on your hands to be able to make some additional transitions. So got it.
Makes very sense. Much so. Yeah, we're still doing loans, but we're not doing loans like we were in 2 years ago. So.
Right. Yep. It sounds like you may be on a more closer to a commission base as well on a lot of what you do there. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, I mean we this time around I had it pretty well structured and I had a good P&L built up and everything like that. So it's kept my core people, the ones that are hungry, that we still have our staff and stuff like that. Nice. That's kept all of us going and surviving, because if you know that industry, there's a lot of layoffs, there's a lot of shifts, there's a lot of people changing careers, and I've been down that road in the past with maybe a poorly ran business model or structure, but this time we've actually done pretty good. So we're still in the positive side, right? The black side. So
gotcha. Sorry about that.
But we're getting all of us to kind of work toward together, right? And just keep moving. I think as long as you're consistently moving forward and doing something that you will find that niche, you will find that infrastructure that you're looking for. We just don't want to operate at 50%. You know what I mean? So
absolutely,
of our own mental capacity of what we want to do and think we can do.
Yep. Cool. All right. So that's great. I appreciate the background and how you've gotten here and helping other folks as well along the way. Anything we can do to help each other, speed up the process on what makes sense for us, and sharing our vision, our knowledge is always a good thing. Mm-hmm. Which is why we're in Sub 2, right? We're here to accelerate that gap and learn from the process. And I know for me, it's been huge. So I know we talked about it before the live stream, but it's been a game changer.
That's awesome.
So one of the questions I'd like to ask is, what is your goal over the next year with the Creative Finance?
Yeah, my goal is hopefully acquire, over this next year. My goal is 10 properties, to be able to acquire them to create that cash flow that I want. Right. Seems like a common goal. I mean, we are marketing and doing a lot of stuff because I was going down, the path of the wholesale path, if you will. Right. And, but aside from that, it's more of like creating the right structure, creating the right business model, and then making sure we act and, build the right team. So I've thrown out a bunch of pro formas and stuff like that of how we want to do it. And we're behind schedule already on a lot of those. So we'll continue to adjust them as we do it. But to me, like I said, it's like that foundation. If I can build a good foundation and a good system, and then I can scale up, and double down on that and double down on that for marketing and whatnot, that would be my main focus, even over owning the properties, because I can rapidly escalate that after the fact as well. So owning properties, call it 10 properties, and building a good infrastructure of a business that is operational and can scale.
Awesome. So you're looking to build this from the ground up.
Yeah, I mean, we've already been doing it for a while now, and we're just tweaking stuff. Like, every Monday we have our Monday morning meeting, and we go through all the things that we need to adjust and whatnot. So we're just going to keep going with that. I know I would like, the more people, the merrier, in my opinion, right? I want as many people that bring value, that have some input, that aren't just waiting to take orders, but actually bringing value and opinions and collaboration to create something.
Right.
That to me, that's the most powerful tool that we could use. So.
Yep. Action.
Exactly. Action.
And
Collaborate. Action.
Then reevaluate. Okay. How did that work? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that was all bad. We screwed it up.
No. Okay. Let's try different.
Exactly. I guarantee it's either going to be great or it's going to be bad, right?
Right. It's a lesson or a blessing. One of the two, right? That's
exactly
like all things in life. So totally get it. No, that's awesome. I like the way you're structuring that and the way you're working on it. So, and you're not afraid to take action, right? Clearly you're focused on building a team and allowing people to do that so you can all learn together and not have to just be you learning the process. Because I know for me, that's always been my hang up, is I'm trying to figure out all the right pieces and structure and all this stuff, which then gets me hung up on not taking action. So that's always been a challenge. And if it's just me and I got to go to learn all that stuff and I got all this other stuff to do, I don't have the time to go learn that stuff. And so then it slows down the entire process if I'm waiting myself,
Yeah. That's a hard to put a lot on. It puts a lot on your shoulders to try to deal with that. Right. And you're not going to know it all, by the time you learn it all. Like I look at, like I said, mortgage, obviously. Right. The Fannie Mae guideline book is probably that big, and then FHA, and then VA, I'll never know it all. And if I did, it would be different by the time I got through it. Right. So I think it's important to just kind of be the action taker, make mistakes along the way, take calculated risks. I want to say just jump into anything and everything that comes across, or maybe you do, depending on what it is. But taking those calculated risks and taking action. I mean, I messed up. I'll say I'm okay messing up 49% of the time.
That works.
So as long as I can hopefully be right 51% of the time, I'll see growth, right? So, but yeah, we wasted a lot of money and a lot of everything else just making mistakes and keep moving forward. So, keep the train going. Gotcha.
And are you finding the sub 2 community and the training has been helping you with that and really helping accelerate that path?
Oh yeah, I mean it's awesome to have all the people there that you can reach out to, all the education, all the documents. I mean, the main reason that I even joined was for the community, just to have people, like-minded people that have same goal, or mostly have the same goal, I should say, right? But yeah, being able to reach out, I met great people through there. I've talked to great people, and I have no complaints with that at all. It's
awesome.
It's been great. Yeah,
I've had some experiences, so it's been really good. So,
it keeps getting bigger and bigger too. So
that's right.
That means there's going to be bigger problems, which are bigger things to solve. Which is that's what you want, right? Bigger problems to solve.
Yep, true that. And it's getting bigger, but it's still a small subset of the world. When you look at the total numbers, right? Total population. So
a sliver, just a sliver,
like a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, exactly.
So, so can you share with the audience something you've learned so far that that's really kind of stood out to you? Maybe been your aha moment? Um, Something that's really
Yes.
been created a positive, in your life.
Yeah, like in the sub two community and whatnot, or
Some
just in life in
life
general.
in general, it's your
I'll do
interview.
life in general because yeah, it applies to everything anyways, right? But
That's right.
I mean, for me, something I'm realizing now is unprogramming how you're programmed is super important and can be hard. And a lot of it is in your mindset, right? So I think like anything you do, you got to really want it and you got to be vested 150%. And it's okay to say no to things and not have to do what everybody else is doing. So right here, this is like for me is a big hurdle I had to overcome because I grew up, get a job, work hard, blah blah blah, and that's not necessarily the case,
Mhm.
especially nowadays, and more people are knowing that and changing the way they think. But if you can get this straight, it makes life a lot easier.
Yeah,
And
and that's it. It's a lot of that programming has been brought up, from your parents and from instilled since birth, kind of thing. So,
right,
yeah, and I've
yeah,
had to go through a big mindset change myself, so I know it makes a huge difference. And I've added recently meditation. It's part of my deal maker challenge. It's 30 days of meditation. So I've
that's
I'm finding
perfect.
that is helping me a lot more than I expected. So it's cool. So,
Yeah, no, I think that's huge, by the way, too. I think a lot of people laugh at it or blow it off or whatever, but it's so valuable and important, I think. However you do it. I mean, it could be, 5 minutes in the morning or 30 minutes a day or, you know, uh, praying or whatever it is that you do to get your mind straight. But
yeah.
sometimes when you slow down, you're more efficient and you're better than you are when you're rush, 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 rush.
Right. Yep. And that's always been my challenge is like squirrel rush.
Yeah, right.
So it's like helping
Get the
me.
nut, get the nut, get the
I'm
nut.
still I'm still squirrely, but it's helping me be mindful and be more present. Like right here, I'm not checking my text and my phone and all this other stuff while I'm talking to you, which that would be my normal thing, right?
Right,
Especially
right.
growing up in corporate, my corporate environment where I would be on a phone call, talking to somebody in my cube, working on Jabber or whatever chat program. So at least three things, not four going on at one time, all the time. Um, just made it, yeah, makes it a challenge, right? But
Yeah, it's like makes it really stressful and you're like the rabbit versus the hare versus the tortoise, right?
yep,
Just losing the race at the end of the day. So yeah. But yeah, I guess that's the biggest thing I've learned, especially over this last year, is just to get that right and breathe, think differently, do what you want to do, not what you think you're supposed to do.
right. Which kind of brings us to our next little piece, and you kind of made it here. What can you recommend to our listeners based off of your experience so far on the creative real estate side?
I mean, do a deep dive into yourself and what you really want. Like go 5, 6, 7 layers deep to find out what you really want. Cause there's a lot of things you can do. I mean, you could be a transaction coordinator. You could be a hard money lender, private money lender, transactional lender. You could flip homes. You could wholesale home. You could buy creative only. I mean, you could do or you can do it all. But if you don't know what you really want to do and you're just listening to the sales pitches and the gurus and your friends and what people are telling you what to do, it's very, very confusing and it'll make you go crazy because I've been there. So, and I'm like, what do I want to do? I still feel that way sometimes. I got to like reset, meditate a little or something, right? Get back on track and say, like, stay in your lane, stay focused. Um, Again, sounds repetitive, but I think the mindset of what you want to do and knowing yourself is more important than what you might be doing at the moment right now. And I've seen this with other people that like flipping properties and they're doing it because they were told to do that or thought they were supposed to do that, but they really are not like having fun with it, right?
Yeah,
Have fun. Life's too short. So you should like what you're doing and have fun with it.
yeah, or at least like the end result, and like it enough to get through the pain to get the pleasure, right?
Yeah, nothing's perfect, right? You're always going to have to do something you don't want to do, but yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, like, what are you driving for? Is it for your family, yourself? You want the house? You want the the generation wealth? You just want that Lambo in the driveway? What are you trying,
Exactly.
what are you trying to do exactly? So yeah, I say like take a deep dive, self-evaluate yourself on a daily basis. I like to take like even 5 minutes a day at the end of the day, just like what did I do? What didn't I do? What should I have done? And what am I going to do tomorrow? And just do an evaluation daily to try and dig down to what you do. Kind of when we're talking to clients, right? It's all about digging deeper on the layers, but sometimes we forget about ourselves. So we got to go back and do it to ourselves as well.
True that. Yeah. All right, a couple more questions and we'll wrap this up. One of the things I like to ask, and I get this from the Bigger Pockets podcast, what are the top 4, I'm going to say books, but it could be movies. What are the top 4 things that have really influenced and shaped your life so far? And it doesn't have to be real estate. It can just be life in general, whatever it is that you found impactful that you would like to share with the community.
All right. Well, I got a few books that I really like. I mean, Think and Grow Rich is one of the top ones, I think, right? I mean, I probably got to read it. Well, I'm an Audibles guy because I'm always in the car driving kids around and doing whatever else, So I got
same here.
A couple hours a day of Audibles going on, but yeah, that's one of the most
1.5 speed or 1.25 speed. Where do you go with that?
I'm like 1.1 to 1.2, depending on the book. If I go 1.4 or 5, I'm like I'm just rewinding all the time. Like, what happened? What did I miss?
It's no different than reading at that point, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, I should just do one, but then I'll never get through it in life. There's so much information out there I'll never be able to capture. So that's a great one for me. The Go Giver is another great one. I love that book. I just watched a movie that you would think somebody in mortgage should have seen a long time ago, but I just watched it recently, which is the Big Short. If you've seen that one, and that one was impactful to me too. I mean, in our business, we got all these salesmen, but speak off of the books and onto a movie of just recognizing things that are out there that nobody else thinks, right? It's kind of like thinking the opposite of everybody else. And that's what people do that are successful a lot of times. Was a good one. Let's see, I like Miracle Morning is another great book. And
working my way through that one now. So
that's a good one. Yes. And Never Split the Difference. That was another great one.
Cool.
Negotiations. So
I
list a bunch more, but we'll stop there.
I have a small collection myself. So awesome. But yeah, I've got Never Split the Difference for sure. And I've started Miracle Morning. I'm not that far through. I need to do more. Trying to time block, but I'm somewhat successful with it.
So much, right? It's like I just want
better than I used to, but I'm still not as consistent as I want to be. And I was, kind of out traveling with family and friends all last week, and across different parts of Texas and whatnot. So
it's hard when you got your life switching up like that. We just got back onto school over here, so I'm like, finally I can get back on track with my audio books here and get
exactly. Now I get the time to drive to school and back, right? So
exactly. If I'm going to drive in half hour there, half hour back, go pick them up half hour. Like I said, I got plenty of time for education.
Awesome. All right. So what is your buy box? So listeners can know what you're looking for and what we can bring your way.
Yeah. I mean, I say it's funny. I was having this talk last week about the buy box, and our buy box is very vague, right? It's a good deal. We want to help people, but we are I'm trying to stay local in my area, which is Southern California, Riverside, San Bernardino County, maybe Orange County and San Diego counties, maybe, but we're staying local on that side for our buy box of being able to manage it and just, getting 5 or 10 under the belt that we can manage, that we can perfect, that we can make mistakes on. And everybody's going to say you're crazy because that's California. What are you doing? You crazy guy. But I'm willing to take the risks.
It's got higher reward potential, but also higher risk potential, right? So,
exactly. I mean, I'm not looking at like the negative. Yeah. So we're pulling stuff in, and like I mentioned before, we are looking at other places, Texas, pretty much anything on the east side of Texas, if you will. I forget what they call it, the green belt side or whatever. Not West Texas really, but East Texas. So looking over that, like Houston surrounding areas and Conroe. Yeah, exactly. Dallas and Houston up that way. So
I
And we're looking
traveled out a lot, so I know those areas. So
right, perfect. So yeah, I'm looking at stuff too, like stuff that we can create cash flow on. Like we're looking at a property right now with a mobile home on it, but we could probably put another mobile home on it and create cash flow for a little, something that's not as risky, if you will. So I sound like a broken record, like everybody else. When I ask somebody what their buy box is, it's almost always the same. I want creative deals under 10% entry fee that cash flow a few $100 a month. I'm like, yep, I want that too. So I'm going to stick with those buy boxes as well. But more importantly, it's like, how can I like having this, like talking, right?
Right.
Because I think two brains can fix a problem better than one brain. So if there's a problem file out there, or not knowing what to do, or I don't care if it's a personal problem or a mechanic problem, I'll talk and help you out with that the best I can, or help find a resolution for it.
Yep.
My buy box is the help.
That's perfect. I'm looking for cash flow too, but $100 a month will do get started, right? I just need to get this under my belt, and then after I get more experience, then I can get picky and I need more money at the cash.
Yeah, exactly. When you got a ton coming in, and then you take those negative cash flows and help settle some of those taxes.
I'm actually doing one right now, a sub 2, my first one in process, and it's a negative cash flow. It's like negative $11 a month with property management in there. So I may drop the property management after I take it over and just handle it myself for a little while, since there's already a long-term tenant in there. I actually met them over the holiday weekend when I went to go walk the property. So
very cool. It's
anyway,
negative how much right now?
Like $11. I mean, it's not a big deal.
That's how much this thing costs. That's
I know,
right?
So yeah, well, I would say negative $11 plus whatever they decide they need to fix, from the property management side. So, they had to go check on an AC. That was $150. So, things like that. So,
oh yeah, there's always something else. So
it adds up. But if I could drop their service, that'll offset the other, and I might break even. So until the lease runs out, and then we can look at wrapping it or raising the rents, because the rents are a little low anyway. It looks like so.
Oh yeah. So
it has
future
potential
strategy.
It's got equity built in. So I'm like, we're gonna make this work.
You can make that work. Yeah.
It's a good enough deal that I've got a capital partner willing to bring money to the deal, and I don't have to pay anything for it. So
it must be a good deal if you got that coming to you. So
yeah. So, I mean, when you're looking at a $60,000 or basically $40,000 equity after the deal, it's not bad on a $200,000 townhouse. So
nice.
Yeah. So no complaints there. But yeah. All right. Well, I know I've got your information up here, but just want to give you a moment to share with our listeners on how they can reach out to you. Got your name, got your Instagram, and your phone number there. Is there an email or something you want to share?
Yeah, I think I might have had it on my header. It's jared@opbuys.com.
Okay.
But yeah, and then like I said, reach out for anything. We're going to be, hopefully by the beginning of next year, we're shooting for is to, as long as we get all the information we want now too, is to start working on the private money side as well too, hard money, private money. But we'll have those options available for everybody as well. So needing money the right way, not Uncle Chuck way or whatever, right? So keep the family out of it, right? It keeps your family healthier.
And that's okay if they're willing to lend. It just, it's always a challenge with family and paying back, and I've always tried to make it a habit. If somebody needs to borrow money, you just give it to them, and then there's no issues, right, in the process. And so
yeah,
it's kind of the way I was raised anyway. But is what it is. So.
I know the handshake used to be the best way to do it, but
yep. So
you got to build trust, rapport, and know who you're talking to, I think, ahead of time. So
true that.
Without that, you don't got it. So, but yeah, like I said, I'm always here to talk, schedule time just to talk about anything that might bring value to somebody, because helping other people is what helps me too. So I learn when I talk to people as well. So
absolutely,
about myself or a topic, either one.
Well, Jared, really appreciate you coming on today and doing this podcast with me, and sharing, with our listeners the things that you're doing on the creative real estate side. Again, his contact information is like down below right there. Mine's up here in this corner somewhere. I don't know. Just scan that. It's my Blink. It's got all my socials and everything on it. So we'll calendar scheduling too if you need to schedule some time. But anyway, looking forward to seeing your progress and, and see where we go from here. So if you need something on my side, reach out, and then, the audience has got your information and reach out as well. So
thanks, Les. Yeah, we'll definitely be talking. We got to talk more. So when there's more time. I know I told you I could talk for a couple more hours if you really wanted to, but
we'll hit the 30-minute mark. So we'll say goodbye, and then we can keep talking offline after we close the session. So thank you all for joining. Jared, appreciate your time today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Les. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Bye-bye.